Hi, and welcome to our YouTube channel. My name is Stephanie Matson. I'm Associate Attorney here at the Law Offices of Beltran Brito Casimir. To my right.
I am Gil Brito. I am the Managing Partner of Beltran Brito Casimir.
And today we're going to be talking about how to put together a great perfect case. There is no perfect case, but how to put together really the strongest case possible for you for immigration.
Sure. I always say, Stephanie, the perfect case is the case that gets approved.
Right.
That is the perfect case. And the reality is that there is no perfect case. And these are just good general tips on how you're going to go ahead and put together. We'll start, Stephanie, with putting together an O1 visa. What's the main thing that we're going to look at as attorneys when we're giving a consultation and we're trying to assist our clients in putting together a case? What are we looking for?
So our first step is we're going to go ahead and ask you for a CV, a resume, right? We want to see what have you done and what can we pull out of the CV in order to be able to document and show to immigration.
Do we need everything on that CV? Do we need to document the entire career for the client?
Absolutely not. I mean, really what we're looking for, what I like to look for really is, for instance, in the case of individuals who work in sort of audiovisual, for the top 3 or 4 productions, or if you're working in the restaurant industry, the top 3 or 4 companies you've been working with, right? So it's really a focus on your best work and what sets you apart in your field.
Yeah, we don't need everything. You know, we don't need the kitchen sinks, which is it's great if that's accessible. If we could have that, that's wonderful. Even for a green card based on extraordinary ability, I don't feel you need the kitchen sink. I don't think U.S. Immigration wants to see 3,000 pages of your career. I almost think that they might think that that's a bit annoying to receive that much paper. So my recommendation is to really pick, if we're talking film, television, music, these types of traditional, categories for an O1 visa, an artist type of visa, or an artist green card, I'm looking for probably the top 5 productions. Maybe I'll go top 6 productions and we'll focus in on that. More than that, I do feel it's overkill. So how do we go about documenting those productions? Let's talk about that.
So really that's the question, right? It's, I've done all this work, but how do I show it, right? And so really our focus with you is going to be to guide you on how to document these things. For instance, I always like to talk an example. So the musician, you've got your album credits, you've got your discography, you've got the actual album jackets where you're credited. Perhaps you have press, perhaps you don't have press. If you don't have a press, there is a way to work it, right? We're going to help you find the best ways in order to document it depending on what you have. Maybe we're going to go ahead and recommend that you do certain things. Maybe we're going to go ahead and recommend, hey, listen, you had that opportunity to give a seminar, why don't you do it? Maybe we'll work on, for actors, build up your IMDb page. I always like to tell them, focus on that and make sure that's built up.
And that's,
right?
that's really on the artist,
Right.
And that's working on your career. By virtue of you working on your career, I say this constantly to clients, is you will almost organically create the documentation we need for a case. So what would happen is there you'll hear back a lot of times, well, I'm not a very public person, or I kind of shy away from red carpet appearances, or people want to interview me on a podcast and I really don't, I have no interest in that. You know what? You need to become a more visible person.
Yes.
So the more visible you are online, on paper, in your field, whatever it may be, the greater the opportunity and likelihood of success in an O1 visa, in a green card based on extraordinary ability, because that by virtue will create the documentation that we need. So yes, the idea is to have obviously a professional consultation with immigration attorneys that have experience in the field and could actually tell you, listen, this is my suggestion on how to put together a quote-unquote perfect case. Again, obviously a perfect case doesn't exist, but maybe you've had that opportunity to be a judge, but you shied away from it. It was a hassle. Do it. Maybe you had that opportunity to be interviewed. Do it. I tell clients, always telling the truth. All the evidence has to be real, cannot be manufactured. It is obvious to a USCIS officer. It is obvious to the U.S. government when things are fake. Okay?
And to that point, Gil, right? These officers are, in fact, doing their own research on their own. We've seen it time and time again.
Yes.
So perhaps you aren't the individual who has a lot of virtual presence, but now they're looking. So now if it's fabricated, it's easier to find. And if you're online and you have followers and you have a following and a presence, it's easier to see, right?
Yes.
So it goes both ways.
Yes. I find it a great opportunity nowadays. You could really control, in my opinion, what the world sees of you.
Right.
And you do so digitally, online. You might not be able to control a press article, a review written about you, your connection to a particular organization, but you can control what people Google about you. And USCIS will likely Google you, especially if we're talking about an O-1 visa or an EB-11 Extraordinary Ability Green Card. They actually want to see what the World Wide Web says about you. They want to see what's out there. And you might think, well, I have some negative press there about me.
Like.
It's like,
all
hey,
press is good press.
It's like, I'll take it. Like, I'll take the negative press. I'm not, obviously, if there's something we need to be aware of, and we really appreciate that, USCIS isn't the first to know about this. We really appreciate that the client actually, tells us that, hey, there's this out there. We need to know about it, and then we could address it. And by addressing it, it really becomes a non-issue, and we could, go ahead and advise how you work around different types of strategies for different cases and how to go about documenting a career properly. So my number one tip is start with a nice list, a good CV, a good resume, and what can I document from that, okay? Focus in on that. Focus in on, was I paid? How was I paid? How much was I paid? Do I have a tax return? Is there tax statements? Is there pay stubs? Is there a contract? Okay, so I think a financial part of it is important, and that's a good way, nice way to document a case, a financial aspect of a person's career. And then there's the actual credits, there's the work experience. That's going to be documented with letters. Obviously, we assist in providing samples and helping draft letters and reviewing letters and all this stuff. And again, always, going back to telling the truth, discussing the real credits, discussing the real experience, and I really feel that if you put together a solid case, okay, that has a nice solid foundation, the likelihood of success is going to be much greater.
And it's not really about volume, right, Gil? Mm-hmm. It's can I prove it in the most succinct way?
Yeah, that's it.
What would you say, why us?
Huh?
Why us? Why our firm?
I feel that after you've literally done this, a couple of thousand times, it really becomes, it's a bit intuitive. I would say it's funny, but it's like, does that mean that I meet with you, I review your CV, and in 5 minutes, that's it? We can't do your case, sir. Have a nice day, ma'am. I'm sorry that there's no way that we're going to be able to do this. No, quite the opposite. I take a look at it. I'll make some suggestions to a client. I say, you know what? I'd love to work with you on this. I think you need to do A, B, and C. Do you think you could accomplish it? And they're usually telling me, yeah, I could definitely do that. That's a very straightforward thing to do. And it's to have a plan of action. So, having that plan of action, implementing that plan, being guided by professionals, I think that's the way to success.
Thank you so much for being with us. You can go ahead and find us at Beltran Brito LLP on Facebook and Instagram, and Beltran Brito Casimir on YouTube. And for any other informative videos, leave us some comments and we'll go ahead and address those topics later. Thank you.